Intersection Magazine Podcast.
Welcome to Intersection Magazine Podcast. This week I'll be discussing an article that was written, or a piece that was written in LinkedIn by a group called French Tech, based in Kenya. And I'm calling it a vote of confidence for the Uganda startup ecosystem. So just some perspectives from a group that's looking at what's been built, especially what happened at the Uganda Investment Summit in the month of June, the 19th and 20th. And I think it's interesting to see what other people think about the ecosystem in Uganda. So my name is Nicholas Kianda, your host as always for Intersection Magazine Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for subscribing. So this conversation is supposed to be a video conversation. Unfortunately, I've had some technical challenges, so what I will do is give you bits and pieces from the talk or the back and forth I had with the lady who is in charge of the North American chapter of the Eco community. For those who don't know, the Eco Farm community is a faith-based group that has quite a number of different goals that they're pursuing, but one of those is, of course, the pursuit of sustainable agriculture, the purpose of feeding vulnerable communities globally. From the conversation that I've had with the Northern American director, Ms. Grace Miller, they have quite a number of regional offices catering to the needs of those regions and to the countries closest to those regions. North America, South America, I believe Asia, as well as East Africa. The center is in Tanzania. There's a number of things that you can get in terms of services that they offer. The one that I'm most familiar with is a rich database of information that exists on a forum-like site that you can access when you go online. Here you can ask questions, you can interact with other farmers, you can watch videos if you're looking for guidance on how to plant a certain crop, how to get rid of weeds, how to grow, or how to plant certain crops, how to make use of stoves, for example, that will conserve how much charcoal you're using. So quite a number of interesting ideas that exist within this web framework. Now, as a person who has a few connections here and there that are into building solutions, I was interested in finding out from the eco community what things look like in terms of technology and innovation. So exciting to find out, for example, that they cater to communities that are living in the third world, and so they've tried to build or to create solutions that are very practical, that can be built from basic materials. So whereas some of the people that I've interacted with tend to design more on the technical side, maybe using computers or applications, and then connecting those applications to maybe databases, and then maybe having an app on a person's phone, which is then able to either get you information or use artificial intelligence to answer questions, or chat bots, or maybe connect with sensors to detect maybe slight changes in the environment or all those kinds of things. They're tools that they offer are much more practical, much more useful in our contexts. So, for example, Mrs. Miller talked about how they have information, for example, about seeds and facilities for those who are looking for seeds. They have access to drying machines for those who want to preserve their fruits. We're all planting fruits and we're all harvesting fruits, but what about those who want to preserve their fruits for another season? She also mentioned that they have an interest, or they promote the planting of perennial trees, which are, you plant once and you just keep harvesting, as opposed to other types of trees and where you have to plant several times a year. The other thing that I found interesting that some of you might appreciate was, for example, the existence of watering solutions or tools that they can use to make watering easier. You connect it to a water source, and then watering your plantations or your small yards becomes much easier. There are other solutions that they have, stoves, as I mentioned before, for cooking, that are efficient, that can be built. So all this information is available and can be accessed by just a click. For those of you who want to join the community, you can sign up and join the community using their website. And then, of course, participate in different events that could be held in your region, if you're in your area, depending on the calendar. There is normally a regional center that's close enough for you to engage with, or if you're not able to go to that center, sometimes those regional centers will reach out and go to capital cities closest to them, so they'll send out small teams. So some of you may benefit from that as well. Now, in terms of the innovation angle, what I see that could happen, of course, because the people that we could identify, for example, in our groups here, generally work through competitions or grants or through hackathons. So what would normally happen is an NGO or not-for-profit sets up a challenge and says we have 3 days in which we're going to be building solutions that help maybe deal with a climate change issue. So then they create a few categories, so you gather a few builders, they put together some ideas, maybe a prototype, they present, and then a small award is given to the one who wins. So that's the standard way of doing things. With the hackathons, it's maybe a bit shorter in terms of what they expect you to build. The challenge that we faced for the community of builders or for founders is that people have generally tended to move from grant to grant. And so that's where the term grantpreneur has come from. But that's really a challenge that has been more for the founders who have, we're advising at least to have like a roadmap for raising money or raising funds for the projects that they're running. So that's not really an issue that we feel, or that I feel would necessarily be tackled, although the same model could be utilized in collaborating with people that have been building or that have come or that have established themselves in the country or in the region in terms of building or creating solutions in the agricultural technology innovation space. So there, I think those of you who will read about the EcoFarm project will see, I hope at least, that you will see opportunities where you can embed yourself with them and help them to maybe create solutions or digitize those solutions or mechanize their work or improve some of what they've put together in terms of the practical tools that they're working on. Naturally, the challenge that I think we'll face is if we're dealing with a third world country, not everything that we're solving can be solved with a smartphone. So we have to bear that in mind as you build, as you create solutions, as you look for meeting points between the solutions that you can come up with and the needs that exist in the greater community. As far as I can see, and from the conversation we had with the regional director for North America, there are very many useful tools that already exist, and the biggest challenge is for the information that on what this group is doing to be more readily available, as well as, of course, for young people such as yourselves to contribute in terms of your expertise and to get into conversations that need to be had, as well as to get engaged in agriculture as a way to feed ourselves in the future and as a generation that's coming up in the years to come. So hopefully we'll get to share a little bit more in terms of what's happening in next month. There's an event, a 2-day event, which you can read about. Just Google Eco Farms and then look at the schedule of events for July. About mid-month there should be an event in Tanzania, but of course, just as I mentioned, if you're not able to attend that event, the teams in those regions usually have a calendar that they're keen to share and to visit the regions that may not be too close to the center. I hope that you've gotten some important pieces of information in terms of what Eco Farms is about and how you can get involved, as well as the opportunities for some of you as founders and as builders in the agricultural technology space. If you visit the site and you have information or questions, as I mentioned, they have a robust system that exists that answers questions, that can help you set up small farms or can provide advisory services so that you can get started, and then of course connect with a vast community of people from across the world who foundationally have a strong faith or Christian base, but as well as that have technical knowledge which you will find useful. Now, as I mentioned before, the event in July is going to be key, so those of you who are in the area or who can make it, please visit the website and get through the application. The rest of you, we hope to hear from you, either directly or indirectly in conversations that we'll have. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. If we're able to resolve the technical issue, then we'll present the conversation that we had. But what I've tried to do is summarize the key points that we shared in the conversation for those of you who I'm sure will benefit. I've been your host, Nicholas Kianda. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And we look forward to engaging with you on a deeper level.
Intersection Magazine Podcast.